Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining. It's exactly 4:01, and we'll start this conversation. This is our 2025's first conversation in the space of prevention of sexual harassment. It's been 11 years since we've got this law. We got this law in 2013. We are in 2025. The journey has been enormous. And last year, 2024, we saw some landmark judgment. Of course, the landmark judgment came in 2023, but we have seen many changes which has happened over last 1 year. And the way this law has progressed, right from being very specific to organization, that now we are encouraging organizations to put it out on internet, the she box coming in, the discussion about conciliation going out of the window, the discussion about the number of days being extended for reporting from 90 days to 1 year. So there is a lot of discussion happening. There are some great challenges people are facing, but there are exciting times also. January 2025, we thought that let's start with bringing everybody together and brainstorming that prevention of sexual harassment is no more a new thing in corporate life or any organizations which has 10 or more employees. It is something that has been there. Uh, why should we not do a thought through approach? Why shouldn't we have a planned approach but do an ad hoc work in the space? Because last year, again, we saw that only in December, there were multiple organizations rushing to achieve the training programs. But having said that, I've also seen multiple organizations who have done well and prepared themselves, and throughout the year they have been doing various initiatives. So I thought might as well bring two eminent speakers on board and hear from them that what do they think about it. Of course, multiple things today we are going to discuss is about basics of POSH, because we also feel there are there are huge number of folks who still do not know what to do. There are questions which pop up and we think, okay, let's take few steps back, get them on board too. So good evening and thank you very much for taking the time out. My name is Smita Shetty Kapoor and I am the CEO and co-founder of Kelp HR. A total of 26 years plus experience. I've been a HR professional for 16 years, and last 11 years that I have been the founder and CEO now of Kelp HR. The idea of Kelp was to create an organization which brings in the POSH law that came in, simplifies the whole aspect of it, right? Because when it came, it looked like a mammoth. People did not know from where to begin. So idea of Kelp is to ensure that we simplify this whole act. And that is why I have got to you these two wonderful people on the call. I'll quickly introduce them and I will hand over the mic to them. So I have Kavitha. She's an advocate. She's a managing partner at Messrs. PVS Giridhar Associates Law Chambers and heading practice division of family law, service and labor law, arbitration, writs, environmental law, criminal law, public interest litigation. Recently appointed as a standing council of Tamil Nadu, Water and Drainage Supply Board by Government of Tamil Nadu, for taking care of matters pending with Honorable High Court of Madras and National Green Tribunal. She's a panel lawyer of National Institute of Siddha, Ministry of Ayush, and ICC committee member for that. She has argued and succeeded in several cases before Honorable High Court of Madras, Central Administrative Tribunal, and Madras Bench and Supreme Court. She's also a panel lawyer of Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change before NGT Madras Bench. Thank you, Kavitha. Welcome on board.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hi. I also have a lovely Arockia. Arockiam, right? I think for Arockia, ILA is not new. We invite her when we want light bulbs going on, and she brings in those sparks and gets it on. So she is a certified Great Place to Work professional with a fast track career graph with a rich and diverse cross-functional of 15 years in human resources in industries like IT, ITES, with she's also worked with multiple startups, mid-size and public limited companies. She's a strategic architect credited with implementing innovative, path-breaking HR initiatives to streamline processes and capitalize on organization growth opportunities. Outstanding skilled in steering the end-to-end HR processes at different levels in matrix structure and ensuring risk management and compliance for business. For me, she's somebody who is an achiever, an effective person. She thinks of an idea and you see that it is implemented. Welcome on board, Arockia.
Oh, thank you so much. So, I can contribute. I seriously don't know how best I can contribute for the discussion, the kind of, preamble that you can, give it to the crowd. But I'll try my level best. The best of, knowledge I would love to, share it with the people here. And thank you so much, Smita, for your invite.
That's so humble, Arockia. Thank you so much. Uh, so let's get started. Let's get right to the ground, right? So things that, if I have to ask you, what are, Kavitha, and this question is for you, what are the most critical steps in creating POSH compliant workplace? Um, if you could also add that, why is it even necessary?
Okay. See, basically, like all of you all must be knowing about the Vishaka's case, which came only in which came in 1997, and thereafter, like if you see, like only in 2013 we had the act coming into force. So the implementation has actually been really slow, and with the intervention of courts orders, like in high courts and Supreme Courts, where the women organizations trying to enforce it. So even now, the statistic shows that it is implemented only in 59% of the organizations have implemented. So the rest, the employees have to go, like the affected persons have to go only before the locals committee. So that is the status throughout the country. So that being the case, like when it is implemented in organizations, how effectively that we have to implement it and ensure that the act is basically, as a lawyer, I see that it is not just implement, the remedy has to go to the victim. So how are we looking at it is what we have to see. When you ask me the first the critical steps that you want me to ask, the first thing, like we need to have a comprehensive policy. So every organization should establish a policy that is of inclusive in nature. So that is the first step that I would say. And to have an once you have the policy set up, it is also important that you have an ICC, so internal complaints committee, which has to be set up as per the provisions in the POSH Act. So if you what happens when it comes to litigation, like as a lawyer, that I see is that there are several cases that are not taken up or dismissed or going against a victim only because the committee is not formed as per the act. So that the organizations have to be the sectors, the private sectors, and normally if you see public sectors, they have a geo or they have guidelines that is already framed, so it is all set procedure. But when it comes to the private sectors and individual organizations, the compliance is not as per the enactments. So that has to be looked into it. And then the third aspect, the most critical step is the awareness that is highly required right now among the all the employees of the organization, and also a training session, so that this could in fact, this is one of the very critical steps. And thereafter, like whenever the ICC conducts an investigation, so it has to be ensured that there is no element of bias is there, so that those who come to give a complaint feel safe. So that aspect should be looked into it. And also, what is more required is, what is more the most essential aspect is the annual reporting by the ICC committee. So basically, I would say these are the 5 essential critical steps that has to be followed by the organization.
Perfect. I think that these are the 5 things, and it is important for all organizations across India. It could be and private sector, public sector, it could be organized, unorganized, even in your house. If you're employing 10 or more people, you have to have an internal complaints committee. So that exhaustive. So do you have that? So this is a question that I ask, and unfortunately, multiple times we don't get a good response. It is not there. While maybe a typical MNC organization or a corporate organization has it, but unorganized sector is a big, big question mark. And it is these conversations like ILA, we are discussing this and making them realize how important, why it is important. Arockia, you want to add something to this?
Being in the corporate world for the last, 15 years, I'm stepping into my 16th year. So whatever the government laws are saying, so yes, of course, that is the mandatory one. Being an, rule follower, we have to follow that, but that is not sufficient. That is not enough to create the awareness. When there is an awareness, when everybody knows about it, nook and corners of the organization is talking about the the workplace harassment. Whatever said and done in the act, that is not sufficient. So we have to go above and beyond to make sure, in case of any slightest discomfort, people should stand up and speak up without any fear. So there are a lot of organization doing a wonderful job in terms of creating the awareness, and a lot of people are being benefited out of it. And lot of organizations like Help are now coming forward and dedicated for this space. So kudos to Kelp for making all the workplace a successful one.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arockia. And what you rightly said, while this is basic minimum that Kavitha narrated, that these are the 5 things that we have to do, it's not enough. And in corporates, in MNCs, in fact, Kelp runs POSH Awards. In that, we look for beyond compliance. So what are those organizations which is doing way beyond the expectation of basic minimum? That is exactly what we are looking forward. And thank you for bringing that up. So, Arokya, I have another question for you, that how can organizations ensure that their POSH policies are effective and not just tick in the box, it's not just formality?
That's a wonderful question, because a lot of organizations nowadays, if you look at it, they are slowly stepping it up. So just give me a second. My doorbell is ringing, so I think my kids have come. Just give me a couple of minutes.
Sure. So while Arokya goes to get the door, uh, the question that we were asking was that why the effectiveness of the policies. Yes, Arokya is back.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
No problem. You don't have to be apologetic at all.
Yeah, that is my phrase that I use it with a proud, that being a mother of 2 at home and 2:30 at office, so I have to somehow manage these. So but that should not affect anybody's time. But to answer your question, whatever I have told you, the minimum requirement is act as saying, but the organization looking at what is going around the world, the organization should take up a lot of other measures to make sure they are creating the safe and inclusive workplace. First and foremost, I'm being successful in this settings in this space because I have the commitment from the leadership team. So when you are implementing this, being an HR, I'm not sure how many people are in this call belongs to the HR community. So if you are an HR person, if you are responsible for creating these safer workplace for your organization, make sure you have a buy-in from your leadership team. Get this strong commitment from your leadership and senior management team, because they should actively support and reinforce whatever said in the policy, and make sure they go and talk about everywhere the organization has a zero tolerance culture. So this one, if you're able to achieve this, rest others will fall in place. So the other things are the regular awareness training that you can conduct it. So that periodic POSH training through various mechanism. It can be an online training, it can be an the face-to-face training, a classroom training, lot of other ways. As a matter of fact, I started reading how AI can help us in terms of providing the training. So regular awareness and training program, yes, of course, making the organization stand out and creating the safer workplaces. And also make sure you communicate frequently on this topic. Whenever you are, okay, so maybe I can share one example. During the last ICC committee meeting, I came to know about through the ICC member. She got to know about this incident. There are organization, one particular organization in Chennai. They have an external member. That external member is expected to come and sign only the papers. Number one, and number two, they are just satisfying creating the record just for the sake of making sure on paper everything looks good. That is not required. If you are doing that, you cannot achieve anything fundamentally. So this is the act says that prevention of sexual harassment. So in order to prevent something happen in the before happening in the organization, so for that you have to do lot of steps. So keep talking about what is required, keep talking about what is the expected behavior. Frequently communicate about the policy. What is the reporting mechanism? Employee writes through the emails and posters, meetings. When you're continuously talking about that, that will go and stick into the employee's mind.
Correct.
Also, make sure accessible and trusted reporting channels. People should not feel that can I go and report it to that person or this person. So even in the IC committee, people should trust everyone, and they should go and report to the person with utmost trust. So I think organization, whatever they do beyond the paperwork, beyond what is said in the act, they have to have the human elements into it. So if something happens, at home, how much care they do, the ICC members, the organization, the management, senior management should take care of this matter with utmost care. They cannot handle this as, low priority task. They have to handle this as one of the primary one, because I have personally witnessed how the organization, especially my organization, how the people are carrying the proud of, being working for the safest workplace. So create that kind of an, environment for your, people. So it not just a, formality's sake, it goes beyond that. And when it goes beyond that, definitely you will see the outcome of it. So the productivity will increase. The collaboration between the teams, I'm personally seeing it that got increased, Smita.
So brilliant, Arockia. And, that's what it is. I recently heard of an organization which was saying that we do not conduct awareness programs because awareness program leads to more cases. So, when somebody tells me this, it takes me a minute to get my thought processes that from where is this coming, right? And that is when I realized that the person who are conducting, if they are thinking like this, then definitely it will lead to cases, right?
Correct.
They don't understand that you have to think from the perspective of a learner. So, and you told multiple things that which we can do to make the trainings effective is to understand that what kind of learners we have in our organization. How does a message stick? And these are your words, are okay. I'm using that. How do you ensure that the message sticks to them? If you go and tell them about law and this is something that has to be done in law, it won't stick. Not everybody understands law. So if you belong to a factory setup, if you belong to generations which are varied, so are we creating content which is effective and impactful across the learners group is something that is more effective, and it will reach the right um, audiences that you want to share this with. So, of course, thank you very much for the insights, inputs, and that various ways of doing it. You also mentioned, Arockia, which is very interesting, that just don't do one session and done with it. How you can spread out your communication, maybe create micro bits of conversations with them so you are engaging with them. You don't have to call it posh, posh, posh all the time, right? You could
Yep.
talk about relationships, you could talk about consent, you could talk about boundaries, you could talk about great respectful behaviors, and all that leads to posh actually. So thank you, Arockia, for that input. Kavitha, do you want to add anything to what?
See, I could add, as you said, Smita, like I gave a training to one organization. So, as you said, like the moment the training got over, there were at least so many people who came to me with having complaints which they have actually not lodged. So sometimes when you give training, like it also creates an awareness within them. And so some cases I found that they interacted with me. They said they were not sure whether to lodge a complaint or not. They did not have a clarity whether it will come within the definition or whether they can give, and what will be the consequences that they may face. So what I found after the training program which I conducted was is a sense of trust that the organization failed to give, which has led to many have not proactively come and redress their grievances. So the grievances were within them and they were having it. And after the training session, I found that, so in fact that was the feedback that I gave to the organization when after the session training got completed. So basically it's a sense of trust. As Arockia says, it is very important that the organization, even in the training sessions, it is not just, as you say, as you rightly pointed out, just to teach on the POSH Act and the sections. That alone is not sufficient. It is more important that we have to, the training should be more creating a sense of trust in them, so that we are there for you. If you have a grievances, come to us, you can trust us. So that is what has to be established in the training session. It is not just teaching. So that clarity, like as you said, that I totally agree with it. Yeah.
Smita, you're on mute.
In my flow, I didn't realize, and I was listening to Kavitha, that beautiful insight that she brought in, that training is about trust, right? And what happens, Kavitha, what we have noticed is people come, talk, give big lectures, preach, 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 but when they are actually practicing, they are not behaving what they have actually preached. So people are confused in their mind, and the trust is broken there. So it is important to practice what you preach, is my mantra in life, that if you're not yourself, okay, convinced with the thought process that you're preaching, don't. Because people are observing you, right? And
Yeah.
you don't want to confuse them, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you are intending to create an organization which has a DNA of trust, safety, happy workplaces, then please ensure that you practice that, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
thank you very much, Kavitha. That's a brilliant insight that we could leave the team with. Of course, there's a lot of discussion. Don't leave right now. Uh, so what are the key challenges, Kavitha? My question to you is that organizations face when training employees on POSH compliance. Is there any you think?
Uh, I think, as I've conducted training programs, I also interact. Like as I said, like I always see POSH is not just like you just as a lawyer, the expectations was more for me to just read the provisions and enlighten them of the act. But I always go into it and find out like how the organization is structured. How does it take the complaints? So some of the challenges that basically which I visualized. After with the organizations are like there had been lack of awareness among the employees. So as I said, like many were totally unaware. Some organizations are unaware there is something called POSH committee is available, and thereafter they, so that they can go and put up their grievances. So the awareness, lack of awareness is one thing that I had seen. The resistance to change, and there was also some kind of fear within them, like what happens like if I go and lodge a complaint, and there's some kind of fear within them. I don't want to term it as a fear also. Some kind of like what happens to them if they lodge a complaint. Do I really need to lodge a complaint? Is it necessary? Or can I manage it myself? Can I go seek for a transfer, or I can leave the organization and join elsewhere? So such kind of retaliation is there, and some resistance is there. And also a cultural stigma. The stigma is always attached, like many women I see that there's a stigma that is attached. Do I need to report? So what happens, I have to, once I report, then it everybody comes to know, my husband comes to know, and then my family comes to know about it. So how do I manage that cultural stigma that is attached to it? And see, these are the broadly, these are the key challenges which I am able to visualize in any organization after I give a training program. Like one of the organization, when I gave a training program, they say we have zero. In fact, this happened really. So after I conducted the training, they claimed, the organization claimed themselves to be a zero tolerance, and there is not even one sexual harassment complaint that has come to us. So by the end of the training, I had at least 30 people coming to me and asking me clarifications, and they were not unsure about whether to give a complaint. So there was a stigma attached to it. So all the organizations claim them to be zero tolerance, and we don't have any sexual harassment. We have a very safe environment, but the reality is totally different. So it is, as you rightly pointed out, the creating the trust by the organization for the employees to come, and this they're all related to each other, is what I would say. These are all
Absolutely.
challenges with the organization faces.
Absolutely. And you know what? I feel zero tolerance is not understood also. It's a very swanky word to
Yeah.
phrase to use, but do we really understand what a zero tolerance is? A good question or good debate to have. Arockia, you want to add to what do you think are challenges typically in corporate world, if you have seen?
Absolutely. So Kavitha pretty much covered most of the points, but practically what I'm looking at it, I'm seeing disinterest from the employees
Mm.
because these trainings are, recurring one. Every year we are making sure that they are undergoing this training. And especially before COVID, there was a scenario. It was full of, classroom training. During COVID, it was full of online, training. And after COVID, it is full of, people are following hybrid models. Some people are working from home, some people are working from the office. So to provide training to them is an, a critical piece, which mode we need to go with that. Correct. So to eradicate that, a lot of organizations nowadays are going with online mode, means the training, the module they are, purchasing it. They are purchasing it, but they are forget. They are not, say for an example, before, coming to that point, let me tell you, being an, mother of two, I can tell you this example. When you're packing your lunch for your kids, say for an example, every day, curd rice,
Familiar.
if you're, packing curd rice every day, when a kid open the lunchbox, no surprise. Oh, mama, would have packed only curd rice. That's it. Oh, curd rice. Oh, okay, fine. So there is no surprise element into it, right? So similarly, when these courses launch, people, what they will think automatically, okay, this is what I learned last year. There is nothing new. So for that, what we are doing, to take on that as one of the steps, we are revisiting the curriculum. We are working on revising the latest scenarios, whatever, going on. So that is what, will create lot of interest in, the readers, the audience mindset. So that this interest, a lot of organizations should work on that, because that is the one of the key challenge. If people are not interested to learn about it, they cannot get the full essence of it. And being in corporate, the primary, challenges that most of the HR people faces is that setback from the management.
Yeah.
Oh, this much hour are you spending it? No. Hey, what is the need of conducting ICC every quarter? So you're taking 7 of the ICC members. So 7 man hours is going on. And you are, making them to work on, skit, mime and POSH. So these many hours are, going on. So setback from the management team and the leadership team, lot of companies are, facing it. So this is one of the the phenomenal one, I would say, that all the HRs are, facing it in the corporate. All the ICC preceding officers are facing it in the organization. And the training content, when I was talking about, the training content also lack of, the practical scenarios, and it is more of like a generic one. And some, I visited one of the, organization. I went through the, their POSH policy as well as their, the training content. It is outdated one. It
Mm.
is not the current one. If you're not an, subject matter expert, hire an, subject matter expert to help you out. But don't take it up to your employees with an, outdated material, which is more generic, but that is not going to, help you in anywhere. So
Mm.
the remote and, hybrid environment, the lack of interest from the employees, the training content, and the support from the management, Smita, I feel that the current challenges that we face in the organization.
Absolutely, you hit the nail on the head, Arockia. If it is not flowing from the management, they will question you for the hours, they will question you for the budget. They will not, they will ask you to do with whatever you have, right? The trainers sometimes are internal trainers who are not very passionate about the subject. They are not the guys who do this on daily basis. So they will copy from the internet, create some PPTs and throw it out to people. People, and as you rightly said, people are like, same content over 3 years. What is this? And they can't relate to it.
Yeah.
We have to remember that we have Gen Zs coming into the workplace. Is the content relevant? We have to understand the kind of industry we are working in. Is the content relevant? And as you rightly said, hybrid culture. Some people are in office, some people are not in the office. Is it relatable to them? Okay. And how effective, not only the trainer's capacity, but AI. People have started using AI and it is coming up with wonderful programs, permutation combinations, and all that. Are we using the technology in the right way? At Kelp, we have also had now gamification because we know Gen Zs like so we have added in our curriculum some gamification which will keep them engaged. So what is it? And create microbytes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because attention retention is zero, right? With the way we flip on the reels, which is 1 second, 2 second reel, our attention retention is reducing. If you make them sit for a 45-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour program, you've lost them, right? So are you creating micro modules? Are you creating quick bites for them to consume? So I think if we look at all those aspects and do intentional work, I think all these challenges can be taken care of. Thank you so much, both of you. I'm coming back to Kavitha. Kavitha, I wanted to know if there are any strategies that can be used to engage employees, especially in remote or hybrid work environment, on these topics, on POSH
Yeah.
topics.
See, basically, the very popular mode is the virtual workshops and webinars. But as you already said, I am unsure how effective it is. When you do it virtually, the participation, the percentage of participation, maybe there may be a physical participation, but how effectively they could participate is a question. Another basically I would some organizations I felt that when I discussed with them, there is they maintain something called a feedback portal, like anonymous posh feedback portal, where they any concerns or suggestions are gathered. So this is one way I think that it is effective. Because as I already said, the trainings should be effective where it's a participative training. So unless and until the training is not participative, then it is an ineffective training. That is how it transforms into. So getting feedbacks, anonymous feedback, or any suggestions from the concerned group of employees will be relevant. So I think Arockia can say better on it because she is more into the organization perspective.
Arokya, while you add to this, I would layer this question that what role does leadership play in creating a culture of safety and inclusivity in workplace?
I would say that presiding officer is the mother and leadership team is the father of, making this family. So, I have, 2 kids, I told you, right? So, I teach them, good touch and bad touch. Not one day, not 2 days, not 3 days. Now and then, I get a time, I go and, talk to them about that. Would that be enough to make them, after, telling them, can I get the confidence? Okay, I taught them, so they will not have any hesitant in case of anything, happens, they will come and, report to the family members. No, because I have created the space that where they can, come and talk to me. Likewise, my husband also should go and talk to them. The barriers between father and kids, they should break it. When it will get break it, so only when they both interact on the topic. Similarly, grandmother, grandfather, grandfather, everybody in the organization should, in the family should talk about that. Similarly, as I said earlier, if you really wanted to do a safer workplace, your organization, the entire organization should talk about it, especially the leadership team. The leadership team is the father of the ICC, I would say. So leadership team plays a crucial role in creating a culture of safety, inclusivity by setting the tone, because which tone they wanted to set it, they can only do that. We cannot do that. They have to set the tone. They have to set the model of behavior. They wanted to see it on the floor. And they have to ensure the accountability of creating safer and inclusive workplace. It's on everybody's shoulder. It's not only on the ICC, it's not only on the presiding officer, it's not only on the management or the leadership or the reporting managers. It's on everybody's shoulder.
Correct.
And trust me, they are the influencer and they can influence, make the POSH policies effective beyond just compliances. So they can talk about the setting a zero tolerance standards in various forums. Like they do have skip level meetings, they have regular one-on-one with their direct reports, and they have a all hands meeting, they have round table meeting, wherever the forum, whichever forum they are going and addressing to the people, and the email communication. A pinch of salt to this area. Are you feeling safe?
Yes.
Any misconduct will not be tolerated. And
Absolutely.
any harassment, any discriminated, we are totally against it. Where it need not be stage where they can come and talk about it, where they come and present 30 minutes talk about the safety and inclusivity.
Yes.
They cannot find out a stage wherever the opportunities comes in to address the gathering, to address the crowd. They need to talk about it.
Yes.
Also, they have to lead by the example.
Mm.
No other chance. They have only one choice, that they have to lead by the example. So
Yes.
their behavior should reflect what kind of culture they are aiming to create in the organization. They should respect everybody. The leadership team should make sure that inclusivity and fairness in all the places. And what is the expected behavior, expected culture they are expecting from the people? Like I said, they have to lead by the example. And also one more thing, I noticed that whichever organization is encouraging the open communication, they are doing the better work. They are really doing very well.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so they have to make sure that the open communication. So we are not high tech organizations. We, in the sense, even I'm talking about all the organizations are not a high tech organization. So only one relationship is there in the organization: employer and employee.
Yes.
Employer, I always say that the employee relationship is more of like an husband and wife relationship. The transparency is the key for the success. The open communication and transparency, both the ways should should be there. And leadership team plays a crucial role in terms of managing this open communication, Smita, and holding everybody accountable in the organization, right from the security at the ground floor. If you are if you are living in your if your organization runs in a multi-story building, right from the security guard to till your cafeteria staffs, make sure everybody works in this organization are accountable for creating the safer place for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and incorporating the DEI initiatives, definitely that is, because we cannot separate POSH and DEI any longer. So both has to intersect.
Correct.
So incorporating the DEI initiatives is completely based on completely on the leadership's role, because sometimes what we as an HR, we get it, we get an pushback from the management. Oh, this college, from this university, from this area, no, don't hire. One. Oh, this girl recently married, not having baby, she will go on a maternity leave soon. No. And okay, not married, soon the person is getting married, so she may relocate to a husband place. Oh, this person belongs to this sexuality. No. So these kind of pushback, we get it from the management generally, but those ones should not be there. So when that will not be there, when we get the leadership team involved in all these initiatives. So make sure your leadership team be ready for all these things before you go and talk to your employees.
Perfect, Arockia. I think, the intersectionality between, because um, posh is posh, but from where it stems is when somebody sees the other person not equal, right? That is where the posh stems, that I can do things to you because I am at a superiority position, right? That's where people start taking advantage, and where that is where the posh stems from. But if we work in the space of diversity, equity, inclusion, I think we are nipping it at the bud. And this comes from leadership, because leadership does not see return of investment immediately.
Yeah.
They are hesitant to invest in it. I call it invest purposely because it is an investment, it's not an expense, right? And it is a journey. We cannot say, okay, today I've put it and tomorrow I'll see the results. You won't. IBM, after so many years, I think 40 or 60 years, have now started seeing the results in their efforts in diversity, equity, inclusion, right? Now they see that how organizations work together to make that difference. So clearly, we have to get on that journey and make the difference. Yeah.
Yep.
Kavitha, coming to you, very loaded question for you.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of conducting regular audits or reviews of POSH practices?
Okay. See, basically, the most important benefit that once you conduct an audit is you comply with the law, so the legal compliance that you satisfy. So once you regularly audit, then you confirm to the internal committee. You have a policy and you have a proper training programs. So basically, you satisfy the legal compliance. So tomorrow, like say for instance, if there is some litigations, like as you know, like once the ICC gives a report, and if any order of termination or any penalty is imposed on the perpetrator, so thereafter he can go before the labor court, the appropriate court, and he can challenge the recommendations of the ICC and the organization's decision. So at that point, like what comes into picture is whether the ICC committee is properly formed and either audit is done. So the legal compliance will have a bearing. So all the efforts that is being put forth by the organization through the ICC committee. So therefore, once an audit is done, like we will know like whether we are compliant as per the law, whether there's a compliance or not. It gives us a clear picture. And what is more important, it also enables us to be have a proactive intervention there rather than a reactive response. So what is right now the need of the hour is like we need to be proactive. When you do a regular audit, we are proactive. If you don't do an audit, then we become reactive. So whenever the complaint comes, there are many organizations strengthen their ICC committee, structure their ICC committee, and then react to it. So we need to be the regular audit helps to be more proactive. The organization becomes a proactive organization. It also enables an efficiency of the ICC committee. So what are the areas of weakness? All could be identified. If there is any lacunas in the training sessions that is being conducted, the participation level is low. So the audit helps to enables the organization to find out what are all the lacunas and how it can be filled and how it can be rectified. So it helps. It truly helps. Like every annual audit, it surely helps the organization becoming more effective. And once you comply with the law and once you comply, everything is complied, then I think it enables the organizations strive their. It becomes, as you say, the zero tolerance can be achieved.
Thank you so much. But Kavitha, one thing is that I, other than Gurgaon as such, Gurgaon as a city state, I have not seen a lot of audits starting in any of the states. Okay.
Yes. See, because you're talking about a very advanced stage of audit. Now, like many organizations don't have a committee itself, like, you know.
Correct. I agree with
So
you.
it's like it's something that we want an audit to happen. So that stage can happen only like, you know, we all fulfill all the having an ICC committee, having a proper training session, and the compliant POSH policy is framed. So the next stage is like, you know, the ideal stage is
What,
proper audit.
you know what, Kavitha, I feel Shebox coming in is something that will help us, because technology is the only savior. I
Yes,
think
yes,
bringing in technology is a big step, and
yes.
as you know, the GST filings, the income tax
Yes,
returns have
yes.
become online and everything is online, and quickly people, whoever is not
Even
following.
courts, even with respect to our courts, most of the filings are online. So we are all everything is becoming online now. So we
Yeah.
have e-courts where we can see the data, we can see the status of our cases. So right now everything becoming online. So I think, as you say, the she box is very effective. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Great. So we have a brighter future.
Yes.
All right. So Arokya, coming to you, now is the season where the new year, April onwards in India, new year will start, and offsites and informal gatherings and parties will happen. So any posh compliance around it?
Of course, yes, because these kind of informal meeting, the offsite meetings and any informal gatherings definitely will be an, a prone place for people to, they can automatically assume that this is not a professional environment where they can, leverage, where they can take some advantage of, going on the other side. But
Arokya, sorry to interject. Um, Offsite informal gatherings, then that offsite meeting becomes, is carried on to somebody's house, and then it becomes an informal gathering, which, as per law, only workplace can be taken
correct.
care of, and these company hosted parties can be. Now, what happens is this set of people who are in the company offsite, they take it forward and go to somebody's house for an after party. Yeah, the word is called after party.
After
Yes,
party and private party.
yes.
All
So,
right. So these kind of, so offsite meeting, because after this, COVID situation, the workplace, the definition of workplace actually, got extended. So the place where we sit and work, the place where we go and meet for any official purpose, the place where it is officially organized, those are all our workplace. It has become, that way. So ensuring posh compliances during offsite meetings, when even during the annual parties or any team outings, team gatherings, or any informal gatherings. I would still say that there is a case, I recently came to know about through my, known person, a person who attended the office party, the team party, after the success of an, project, the person moved to an, a private party. So something, happened, and whether the organization will be involved or not, that was the, question and topic for debate. So the organization in this case cannot, wash, their hands, because they have to make sure the safety of the women employee who attended the party go back to the, home safely, especially during the, the odd hours. So these kind of ones, rather than, talking about the incidents, I would love to, share what are the preventive measures that we can, take it. Being an organization, because coming, Friday, we have our annual party. So annual party will end up at 8:30. The second bus will leave at, 8:30. So I'm going to send my, employees, irrespective of women or, male employees, I'm going to send my employees, at 8:30 leaving the place, and they will be ideally reaching around 9:30 and 10:30. So what will happen in this kind of an, situation? We have to first set the clear expectation in advance. So we do have a policy horizon, initiative where we take one policy in a month and educate the employees. And we do have our in our employee engagement calendar. We do have in a quarter we take one posh, message, and we share it with the people. So this week we are sending the what is the expected behavior during the annual party, that we are sending it before, just before the, the event, because that will have a clear expectation, and much in advance they will come to know about it. These guidelines on a professional behavior and acceptable, code of contact, during these meetings, during these, informal gatherings, that would help them. They will remind, constant that, okay, even I'm out of my, office premises, even out of, even though I'm not wearing my office card, even though I'm not sitting in the place where it is being, monitored through my officials, CCTV camera, I'm still expected to behave perfectly. And especially during these parties, in IT, and ITES culture, if you look at it, alcohol consumption will be there. And I have to also emphasize the alcohol consumption or any sort of, casual setting does not, exempt anything that they are doing it apart from the code of conduct, that is not, exempt employees from a responsible behavior. Wherever you are a responsible citizen as well as responsible employee of an, company. And before these kind of, meetings, the organization should ensure they remind the people about the reporting mechanism. So we have to make sure that employees are aware of the POSH reporting channels and that remains open during the offsite events. So they cannot, take any advantage of it. And not only that, creating the, physical and mental safety during these time is also in, organization's hands. So make sure the people are picked up in the right place and dropped off in the, exactly the right place where they wanted to get up. And second, mental well-being. After this event, conduct an, survey and collect the feedback and specifically ask a question. Will you feel safe at the event, at the party? Specifically ask this question, because these kind of places where people can tend to take some leverage, take some advantage of other people.
Absolutely bang on. I loved your idea of sending,
Message.
educational messages to people before the offsite, ensuring that their transport is taken care of. Okay, addressing their mental well-being. I think these are some important key aspects. Unfortunately, not spoken about in our law, but this is an organization which is mindful that these are those over outliers which could trigger to a possible POSH case, but let's do some prevention activity around it. So I love the idea, Arockia. And with that, I want this question is to both of you that what are the emerging workplace trends should organization be mindful when planning their POSH initiative for the new year, for this year? What are those trends, thought processes that they should be mindful of?
After you, Kavitha.
Okay, so I was waiting for you to start. Okay, so basically, like inclusive work environment is what I would say. So creating an inclusive work environment, as I already pointed out, the organizations should not be reactive, but it has to be more proactive. And adding to Arockia, like some of the very good suggestions that she put forth with respect to the events, the parties, and the organizations. So one aspect is that could also be included in the POSH policies when it is getting framed. Even in the policies, like even the events, the events after the office hours, which is being conducted, parties which are conducted will also attract POSH, also within the POSH enactment. So therefore, that is also available in the POSH policy. So I would suggest like these are the certain things that could be taken up for this new year, and creating more awareness of POSH. As I said, the training is more not just an mere like teaching the law, but rather it is more a very inclusive training that has to be done. Is what some of the suggestions that I would like to give.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Arockia.
Yeah, especially after COVID, we all moved to an hybrid hybrid working model. So all the organization, they are doing extensive work in terms of making sure their productivity is going up. But during the hybrid model, during the virtual, the setup of work, they have to taken into consideration that these ones are probe to the virtual harassment and digital misconduct. With remote and hybrid settings working model we have in our organizations, so we have published the work from home guidelines. So during the work from home, if any employee is you first of all, you are not supposed to conduct one-on-one during the work from home, because you have to the rest other 3 days, 2 days you are expected to employee to work from the office, right? So those days the managers are expected to conduct one-on-ones. During the one-on-ones, the videos should not be you should not force an employee to switch on the videos. And any sort of digital miscontact or bullying or any video call miscontact, that has to be addressed in the policy, and the work from home guidelines to be clearly set it out. And especially these virtual meetings, workplace chat tools, we have a lot, and social media interactions also we need to be mindful. So to arrest the virtual harassment and the miscontact using the digital mode, the organization should set up an policy and circulate to the team. And as I said earlier, the intersection of DEI and POSH is very crucial in this year. Um, so last week or the previous week, I heard in the news the new president of US decision of the LGBTQ community, that was shocking to me literally, because we cannot change the principle based on the presidents to presidents. It is a community that we have, like male community, female community, and LGBTQ community also we have to respect. Correct. So the intersection of diversity, equity, and inclusion and POSH, both should align. These two, the initiatives that are pertaining to POSH and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, that has to truly create an inclusive workplace. So organization must focus on these areas to eradicate the problems in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think we are running out of time. Just one thing that I would want to add here is, create conversations, communications, training programs based on theme throughout the year. You can tie up like your performance management cycle, like Arockia, you said offsite is happening. So before offsite, we'd created a learning nuggets for them. Before performance appraisal, you could create a learning nugget. Before festival seasons which comes in, right, create a learning nugget. So you could tie it to the entire employee life cycle within the organization and create nuggets of learnings for them throughout. So this is something also. So please concentrate on creating a calendar. Do not make a rushed effort. Oh, we want to finish it in December, or push it right now already, saying we are in January, December is far away, and you don't know when 2025 December will come, and then you're rushing around and just doing check in the box, putting 1,000 people in one room, doing one webinar blast. I think just stop that. This is something that we need to, this is the time when we need to put our heads down, create a calendar and say, okay, we are going to work through this. Okay. If you really want to have an effective learning program. Okay. With that, I'll just pause, and for the two of you, I'll see, I don't know if you have responded to the questions here. Any specific question? I think DP has been responding. DP, any questions that we need to respond to? None. Thank you. All right. I think this was a really amazing conversation that we have had as a beginning of the year. Any closing comments from Arockia, Kavitha?
So I really thank Smita for conducting this very effectively, and also Arockia for your inputs. In fact, as a lawyer, like we see more the sections and the provisions or the interpretation, but the perspective that you all, both of you, like Smita and Arockia, gave how to implement in the organization, what are the bottlenecks that you face, are really like it's a good. Thought process even for me as well as for all the audiences who had participated. So it's very good effort, Smita. I thank Arockia also for participating.
Thank you, Kavitha. Thank you so much. That's so sweet. And trust me, y'all are our backbone. The lawyers are our backbone. Basis that we can do all these things, right? So thank you for being there, because we come back to you only to ask that how do you interpret this particular thing. So be there. Thank you very much for that. Arokya, anything from your side?
Nothing sort of. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Smita and Kelp, and thank you so much for all the participants who listened to us patiently. And as a HR, we are having, a responsibility to create a holistic work, environment. So sexual harassment, the part that goes beyond safety. So there are a lot of things that we need to, take care of it. Inch by inch, we need to take care of it. So bring your innovation, creativity into it, and motherhood into it. So that would actually, help to create a successful workplace for everybody in the organization. So thank you so much, and thank you, Smita.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And take care, all of you. Have a lovely year ahead. Okay, Happy New Year. Please look forward. Kelp is creating best practices. So we'll be releasing it soon. So look forward. Arockia's organization were one of the winners of 2025. And congratulations again to you, Arockia. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Smita. Thank you all.
Thank
Congratulations. Yeah.
you all.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Kavitha. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.